All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with a little 49er video as we go into the one player that I think could help vault the 49ers over the top in the NFC this year. If they could add this one player, I think they got a great shot. We'll talk about who that player is and why it makes sense to add him coming up next. But first, we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out there in Emeryville. They're in Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. And they do run out, so get there early, get some brisket chili. Tell them the Krug sent you. And this video is also sponsored by LearnKey's Upskill Academy, an online learning platform designed to get you job ready in 6 months or less. Whether you're interested in IT, cybersecurity, marketing, could be another high-demand field. They offer over 30 certification programs to help you take that next step in your professional career. Great company. They've been in business for 37 years. They've worked with over 200,000 students. They place over 100 students a month in well-paying jobs. So the link's in the description below. LearnKey Upskill Academy. Thanks to them for being a proud sponsor of the Krug Show. All right, the draft has come and gone. Free agency has come and gone. And now every team is looking at their roster, thinking about a little tweak here, a little tweak there. There's still a number of free agents out there. There's still a number of moves that will be made. The 49ers usually do add a couple players between now and training camp. Why? Well, this is the time of year where if you do add a free agent, they're not subject to the compensation, the compensatory draft pick formula. So, you can sign away. And then also this is the time of the year sometimes where teams look, because you draft and you sign free agents kind of independent of one another. You don't know who you're going to get in the draft when you sign free agents. So some teams get to this point in the year and they have holes to fill in their roster, and sometimes they have surpluses of talent at certain positions, and they're looking to kind of move guys around. I bring this up because the New York Jets have an interesting story brewing. I was looking at a video from the guys who do Locked On New York Jets, and they talked a lot about the Jets roster this summer, and they were pointing to the wide receiver position. I'm going to show the Jets depth chart here. Here is the issue that they see. You got Garrett Wilson at wide. We're talking about Jets wide receiver. Okay, you have Garrett Wilson at wide receiver right now. He's your number one. Obviously, he's their star. They just signed Josh Reynolds, the veteran, comes in from Jacksonville. They really like Reynolds. And they also signed Tyler Johnson, who was in Tampa. He was with the Rams, good player at the University of Minnesota. So they signed those two free agents. So you got to think those two guys and Garrett Wilson for sure are on the team. Then you got Alan Lazard, who's a starter. So he's probably going to make the team. That's four. The talk of Jets OTAs has been how great Arian Smith looks, and that's the Georgia rookie they took in the 4th round, and he's a burner. I mean, he is a legitimate home run hitter, 4.2 speed, big-time runner. Then you look at the rest of this group. You got Xavier Gibson over here, who's a accomplished return guy, one of the best return men in the league. So I would imagine he's going to commandeer a roster spot. You also have an interesting undrafted guy here in Jamal Pritchett from South Alabama who also runs really well. So you got a number of players there, and there's other guys, Quentin Skinner, Ontaria Wilson, Charles Irvin, Brandon Smith, Dymere Miller, and over here, Malachi Corley. So let's talk about Malachi Corley, because the speculation from the Locked On Jets guys is that Malachi Corley may get cut, that he may not make the team. And it makes sense because Wilson, Reynolds, Lazard, Tyler Johnson, if Arian Smith looks great, that's 5 receivers right there. Gibson is their return guy. He's number 6. So they got 6 receivers right there. And Pritchett's a really interesting undrafted player. And then you got Malachi Corley, who's number 7. So that means they may be in a mode to cut Malachi Corley. So that is really interesting. So let's stop sharing the Jets roster. And now let's take a look at the 49ers depth chart, because the Niner depth chart is interesting as well at wide receiver. They have Brandon Ayuk. He's in red. Why? Because he's not going to play. He's probably not going to play all year, but if he's going to play, it's going to be in November. So he's out. And then who knows what he's going to be? Tore the MCL, tore the ACL, tore the meniscus. If he's diminished, nobody would fault him for it. So you don't know when he's coming back or when he comes back if he's going to be any good. So there you got Brandon Ayuk, gigantic question mark, despite the fact you're paying him a mint. So what else you got? You got Ricky Pearsall. He had 2 good games last year. He had 6 bad games. You got Juwan Jennings, tough as hell, slow as molasses, really slow. You got DeMarcus Robinson, not a burner, but a decent NFL receiver, but he's probably going to miss 3 games because of a DUI suspension. Jordan Watkins I really like. He runs in the 4.3s, and I think he's going to be really good. But he was a 4th-round pick. He's a rookie wide receiver. Rookie wide receivers don't do much. And if you don't believe me, look at last year's 4th-round pick, Jacob Cowing. He's coming off a year where he didn't do much. So he's kind of a question mark. So what do you really got here? Ayuk's not going to commandeer a spot. At least week 1, neither is Robinson. So you got Pearsall and you got Jennings, and you got a rookie in Watkins. You got to hope that Cowing comes back and does something. Trent Taylor's not NFL. You can draw a line through him. Tariq Owens is, related to Terrell Owens, and that's really all you can say about him. Russell Gage is just a guy. So you got 4 receivers right now. Then you have Isaiah Hodgins, who's a kind of interesting possession receiver, 5, but hardly dynamic. Isaiah Nayer, who's an incredible athlete. But he really looks like a practice squad guy. So that would be number 6. And then you got Junior Bergen, who, is, from what I've been told, is more of a return guy than a receiver. So Bergen's not a receiver. Nayer's super raw. Hodgins is kind of a possession guy. Taylor's past his prime. Owens, I would say 5% chance of being good. Gage is hurt, or Gage has been hurt and is old. Robinson is going to miss the first 3 games. Watkins is a rookie. Cowing's coming off a very disappointing rookie year. Ayuk's out for the year, or probably November. And then you got Pearsall and Jennings. So the Niners need a wide receiver if they're going to, be good. And Malachi Corley, now let's go back and talk about Malachi Corley for a second, because he is interesting for more than just, he's an interesting guy who could be available in a numbers game. We're talking about a 5'11", 215-pound wide receiver from Western Kentucky a year ago. A year ago, the last Jets regime, which was Joe Douglas, who's now a scout for the Eagles, and Robert Saleh, who's obviously now the Niners defensive coordinator, that regime traded up in the 3rd round for Malachi Corley. So we have reason to believe that Robert Saleh and Joe Douglas really liked Malachi Corley. So if he's going to get cut a year later, maybe Robert Saleh still likes Malachi Corley. He's definitely a yak monster. He's definitely a Debo clone. He can make defenders miss. He can play through contact. He's been compared a lot to Debo. He's not Debo. Debo's a little bit thicker, a little bit more powerful, a little bit more explosive. But this guy's got talent. He only had 6 targets his rookie year. He caught 3 balls for 16 yards, 0 touchdowns. He had the disaster play of downing a ball at the 1 that he thought he was in the end zone. That obviously brought a lot of shame, I'm sure. But now the Jets have a new regime. Aaron Glenn and Darren Muguri is the new GM. The former Broncos assistant GM is now the Jets GM. New regime. And this is where NFL teams sometimes part with talent at kind of a reduced price when it's a new regime. When, hey man, yeah, he was a 3rd-round pick, but he won my 3rd-round pick. That's Joe Douglas's problem. So in fact, I'd like to get him out of here because it wasn't my idea. It's not my guy. There's a lot of that in the NFL. And now the Jets' 4th-round pick, Arian Smith, is impressing the Jets so much in OTAs that Corley, they're saying, may be the odd man out. He signed a 4-year, $6.07 million contract as a rookie, so he's still on his rookie deal. He's incredibly affordable. He's just got caught up in a numbers game, and the Niners need a receiver. They don't have Debo. This is like a poor man's Debo. I like the idea. Now, he could be bad, right? It could be bad. He wasn't good as a rookie. As I said, targeted 3 times, caught 3 balls all year. If he's bad, you've wasted whatever it takes to get him. But lots and lots of receivers struggle in year one and bust out in year two. And if the Jets don't have the patience to wait around for Malachi Corley for year number two, if I was John Lynch, I would try to poach him. Show that patience. You get this guy in your offense with the other weapons you have, and I think Corley could be one of the real surprise players. If the Niners get a surprise bust-out performance from a receiver, maybe they could get it from Cowing. Heck, if they get Corley, maybe they could get it from Corley and Cowing. But if they can get that bust-out performance from a young receiver, I think they're a Super Bowl contender. I think there's enough offensively. Now, there's a lot of questions on special teams. There's questions on defense. But offensively, there's also questions with no Debo and with Ayuk, diminished and out for a good chunk of the year. Getting a guy like Corley and maybe getting him for free, maybe getting him for very little, I think is one of those slam dunk moves that absolutely we could look back at the end of the year and go, that was a genius addition that saved the season. I think Malachi Corley could be a bust-out offensive player in year two in this offense, and the 49ers could look up 6-7 weeks later and go, wow, we really got something here. So, John Lynch, if you're watching, one vote for if you can trade for Malachi Corley, do it. Do it. He could be that Debo Samuel, and he could be one of your 5 or 6 best receivers, and he could be the reason that you guys have a surprising year. So I'm a big fan of Malachi Corley, and I think he would be awesome in a 49er uniform. All right, thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krug Show. Thanks to our good friends at LearnKey Upskill Academy for sponsoring this video. And, of course, thanks to all of you guys for supporting the Krug Show on YouTube. And, by the way, we should show you before, we should probably share the screen on this. If you're wondering, what's Malachi Corley doing this offseason? He has been working out. Here he is in his workout.
Nice.
And this guy's working out. This guy's looking to get better. This guy's pretty ripped right now. And he's looking to, this is working on his game. This is what the offseason's all about. You get this guy in a 49er uniform, and I think you'll be happy you did. All right. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor once again. Thanks to LearnKey. Thanks to all of you guys for supporting the Krug Show on YouTube.